Morning, Wichita and the real estate community and everyone else that watches my crap. So I just recently got an infographic from Keeping Current Matters, which is a national publication on real estate data and market trends. And basically what they're calling for is flat appreciation. And that's on a national level for 2023. And of course, none of them have a magic ball. They don't entirely know what's gonna happen. But if it was me and I was a smart person, like you are and most people are, you kind of pay attention to these things to make your plans accordingly, because we don't entirely know what's going to happen in 2023, but I could see it. I don't even necessarily want to call it flat. Like, it might go up a little, it might stagnate a little, but we're definitely not going to see what we saw over the last 2 years, just based on interest rates, economic environment, everything else accordingly. Now, the thing that I want to take into account for that, and this can be sometimes confusing when you're looking at headlines, is the fact that these people are looking at a national scale, at a national level. And in a lot of ways, you don't really care, because that doesn't affect you personally and locally and individually. And so from a national level, the average is they're calling for a flat line appreciation. On a local level, they haven't quite come out with that for 2023 from like the WSU Center for Real Estate Development, or whatever it's called, that develops that data. And you can look at what's the market doing, what are market trends, how things are going, and those are things to pay attention to, and they're important, and they matter. But at the end of the day, it doesn't entirely serve you or help you, other than just to be aware of what's going on from a market condition type of situation. Because if you're not a national lender or work on a national level as an individual consumer, buyer and seller, you don't really care. And even on a local level, you don't really care unless you're looking into buying or selling real estate, or you're kind of paying attention to what is my personal real estate doing. Because this is a number one trend that I've found in sales, service, business that's been going on lately. The only thing that the consumer, the buyer and seller, really cares about is, does this affect me, and can you get me what I want? And so I want to talk about how this is going to affect you potentially personally in 2023 and going forward, is your individual opportunity or your individual situation to hold on to what you're looking at. Because in any market, there's opportunity to capitalize on deals, I guess is what I'm getting at. You could look at, say, and I could tell you what are the Wichita market stats from a generalized overview, broad stroke perspective, but when you really drill down into the neighborhoods and the areas and the house itself specifically, it gets much more granular. And you can get really thrown off by these headlines and what your friends are saying and popular opinion and all these other sensational things that can really lead you to despair and hopelessness and fear and scarcity. And this is what I see a lot of people hesitating to take any action in the market, because they're overwhelmed with information and knowledge and opinions and everything else from a lot of, frankly, unsuccessful people who don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to real estate. But it sounds good, and that's some nice theory that people have, but they've never actually done these things, and they haven't actually had success in real estate. And you kind of got to look at the credibility of your friends, your family, the realtor you're listening to, and the information sources you're getting this from. So that's one thing that, especially in today's day and age, I think people are waking up to that a little bit more, that you really got to verify the credibility of the source of who you're listening to. Just because you're on social media, just because you're on the internet and you're saying things, doesn't necessarily mean you know what you're talking about and you have the track record and the facts to back it up. And of course, this is where I gotta shamelessly plug myself and over the 300 transactions we had, and kind of tell you a little bit about my backstory, and be like, well, why the hell should I listen to you? And the reason I got into real estate was to flip houses when I first started. And this is my point, is that I was always able to identify where there was opportunity in any market, no matter what was going on, when we bought the house. And I learned to do this for my own houses when I was flipping houses. And I would see where the opportunities out of where we buy them, what the money we put into, and then what we could sell them for on the back end. And I took that same experience, and I made mistakes on my end, I'll be honest with you. I kind of went and made mistakes on my own houses before I went and did this for other people. And I had successes too. So I learned from those mistakes and I learned from those successes, but I kind of took that same attitude and approach to real estate, of kind of flipping a house or looking out for a long-term situation for these buyers, because you make money when you buy these houses. And you set up a 3 to 15 year game plan on everything, and when you can spot opportunity and you can capitalize on it, and when you can see how this individual house and this individual neighborhood for your individual situation makes sense for you to live in it and what works for you, and also how this can appreciate over time. And I'll give you an example from last night when I was doing a showing in Valley Center. It was a 3-bed, 1.5 bath house that backed up to the river, which was the ideal perfect house for these people. I met them back in August, evaluated what we could potentially sell their house for, some work to put into it where it'd be a good idea to do so, or what they could sell it without putting the work into it, to give them options on their house. Didn't have them sign anything, didn't push them, didn't pressure them, just gave them a plan and an assessment of what's possible, so that when they're looking for that right house that comes up, that was backed up to the Arkansas River that we just found last night and looked at, that house came up. So that's gonna work for their living situation, but they might also be moving to Texas, for job opportunities at some point in the future. They don't have to necessarily, but works for a quick trip. And, that could be something in the future they decide to do, is move down to Texas. But as we were looking at the house, it was a 3-bed, 1.5 bath. A lot of things were nice about it, but there's an additional room in the basement that could be turned into a master suite, another bedroom, and put a bathroom in there, which adds more value. So that would turn into a 4-bed, 2.5 bath, which right away there's a project I could see, I could spot that opportunity. There's also getting a new septic system, I think, as well. And so given, the market conditions, the market situation, and everything else going on, there's opportunity there to capitalize when you assess the total picture of what you're trying to put together in a deal, but then you're also assessing their personal situation of the house they got to sell, the house they're going to buy, what's the long-term plan, let's have options of what we can do with this, how they would work now, but also in the future. And this is how you put deals together. This is what really good agents do, is when they're getting creative and they spot opportunities and they put a deal together instead of being scared about where's the interest rates and what's the market doing and everything else. When you see the house that works for you on a personal level and you see the opportunity and you're not scared to take action, there's deals always and everywhere in these markets. No matter, even in 2008, there's a lot of people who found awesome deals and capitalized on 2008. And so the market is gonna be the market. It's just a matter of how you play the market. And this is where my whole point of this video is that you can get very discouraged by national headlines and even local headlines. But in every market, there's opportunity. In every real estate environment, there's opportunity, and the agent you choose to work with or not choose to work with makes all the difference, especially right now in this market for everything, because there's a lot of scared agents and there's a lot of new agents or people that got into the market or got into real estate, in the last 2 years that quite frankly don't really know what they're doing. And I think that's, if most consumers are being honest, is people's number one fear is not the market, is a realtor who doesn't know what they're doing or is gonna screw them over. If we're being true and transparent and honest, if you're an agent, pay attention to what I just said there. If you're a buyer and seller, I feel you, I understand where you're at. Your biggest concern usually is not the house and the market and lending, it's us. I realize that as an agent, it's does this agent know what the hell they're doing? Because you realize how many don't. And I hate to be negative like that and assess things, but you gotta be objective and call it out and tell it like it is, which is what you can get from me and you can expect from me, is that I'll tell you the truth and what you need to hear. Like the lady recently who wanted to sell her house for $350,000, even though it more than likely is gonna sell at $300,000. And she was kind of just trying to force and press the issue because she thought it was still spring and summer of last year. That's not the same market, sorry. And I'm gonna tell you the truth of what you need to hear in kindness and love because I care about you. And I'm not gonna be a jerk about it, beat you over the head, but some of these things we gotta assess objectively from a data standpoint of what's actually possible on everything. But I hope that helps you understand a little bit more what 2023 may look like and how to not be scared of it. And I'm not gonna just post sensational headlines and buy into the emotion and the craze that a lot of people do and a lot of marketers and advertisers do, because I wanna give you the real facts, tell it to you straight, and hope, whether you use me or not as a realtor, I want you to have success in this, because I've seen too much problems and drama and trauma go on from people having terrible real estate situations. And it's kind of why I named this team Home Heroes, avoid the nightmare, hire the good guys, that know what they're doing to set you up for a long-term plan for success and look out for you, not just to make a sale and slam you into a house, but set you up on successful 3 to 15 year game plan. So hopefully it helps you learn a little bit more how real estate's working right now, whether you're an agent using this with your current clients, or whether you are a buyer or seller looking to pull something off, you know, get with me early and often, because you can never have too much planning and strategy and thought into these things. But at the same time, don't let that hold you back from taking any action and doing anything. Because the people who just continue to wait and wait and wait never make it, never are successful. Eventually you do have to take action, but let's have a solid strategy and planning behind it. And that's where you'd want to use somebody who has that approach, that mindset, as an agent like myself, that takes a long-term picture into play, not just tries to throw you into a house and that kind of thing. But thanks for watching. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, share. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I really appreciate your attention for 10 minutes. I know that's a lot in today's world. And if there's anything I can do to help you at all, just shoot me a message, give me a call, shout at me, whatever you got to do, and we'll go from there. See you guys.